the motion, you have to leave the house. There's a party. I've written it. Then they should present a motion. You are not arguing, you are supposed to present.
Jebu Miango settlement clause to the 3rd Armored Division, and the community since yesterday, the day before yesterday, has been attacked with a number of people killed and houses burnt. I'm here, like I said, Mr. Speaker, to draw the attention of government to come to the rescue of that very community. As I'm talking, the community is fleeing, and the means of livelihood of the people is under question mark. As I speak to you, Mr. Speaker, there is no presence of security personnel in that very community. So I crave the indulgence of this House to, as a matter of urgency, Mr. Speaker, urge government to deploy security personnel to that affected community. This attack is coming at a time when the community is preparing.
Noted. Mr. Speaker, he has not mentioned the subject matter.
Yes. Just your prayers.
Well, I don't know. I have said, Honorable Aga, that your motion is not yet ready. But the minority leader said your motion is ready. Maybe he waited it for you. But there's a pattern and procedure as to how motions are crafted. It's a legal procedure, standard. And you are not in that line with that provisions.
So, like I said, Mr. Speaker, I urge government to rise to the occasion by protecting the lives.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. In solidarity? The Special Committee for order the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, to serve as Nigerian Appellate Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Tat Monguno. All members will call the bill was set the first time on Tuesday, 23rd November 2021, and I invite Honorable Monguno to move that the bill be read the second time. Monguno is not around.
Yeah, noted. Yeah, the Speaker, honorable colleagues, our Chief Whip, Honorable Tahir Mungro, is not on seat, so the bill stepped by the leave of the House. Thank you.
Acting, what did you say? Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Respectfully, the second order of the day is commencement of the debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education, Technical, Lafayagi, Edu, local government area of Kwara State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, and social sciences, humanities, and management for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Ahmed Abubakar Ndakene. All members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 25th February 2021. I now invite Honorable Ndakene to move that the bill be read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Ahmed Abubakar Ndakene. I represent the good people of Edupatigi Moro Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kwara State. I rise to lead the debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education Technical Lafayagi at the local government area, Kwara State. Provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and for related matters 2022. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Jega.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Mohammed Umar Jega, representing Aleru Gondu Jega Federal Constituency. I'm from Kebbi State. I rise to second the motion to second the second reading of the bill as moved by my honorable colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Honorable Dakin, you want to argue or put a question? Those in favor that the bill be read second and say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Education Technical, Lafiagi, Edu Local Government Area, Kwara State. Provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of bill for an act to establish Federal University of Education, Technical Gombe State for the promotion and development of teachers' education, make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and for related matters. Standing in the name of Abubakar Yusa Ahmed, all members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 2nd March 2022. I now invite Honorable Ahmed to move that the bill be read the second time. Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I remain Abubakar Yunus Ahmed, representing Yamal Tudeba Federal Constituency. I am from Gombe State and the acting amateur rules and business. I stand before you to move that a bill which seeks to repeal paragraph A of the first schedule to the Federal College of Education Act, Cap F8, Laws of Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the Federal University of Education Technical Gombe State for the promotion and development of teachers' education and make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university be read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Acting Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba Yakub. I represent Gombe Home Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. I rise to second that the bill moved by Honorable Unisa be read the second time. I so second.
The question now is the bill be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Education Technical Gombe State for the promotion and development of teachers' education, make comprehensive provision for management and administration of the university and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Tertiary Education. Respected colleagues, the fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of bill for an act to establish Federal College of Food Technology, Ndiago Amabu Iko, Ebonyi State, to provide full-time courses leading to the award of diploma, higher national diploma in food technology and allied disciplines and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Chinedi Honorable members will call the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 20th February 2021, and I invite Honorable Oga to move that the bill be read the second time. What's happening? Chinedu, go to the back.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I, Honorable Comrade Chinedu Oga ON, representing Ikwo Ezasa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion that a bill for an act for establishment of Federal College of Food Technology, Ndegamago, in Ikwo Local Government, Ebonyi State, be read for second reading. I hereby move.
Gimbe Duku.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my highly respected colleagues. I'm Honorable Aisha Jibril Duku, Gimbier Duku, member representing Dukuna for the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the second reading of the bill to establish the Federal College of Food Technology in Diagu, Amagu, Ikwo, Ebonyi State, as moved by Honorable Chinedu Oga. I so second.
Now is the bill be read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Title of the bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Food Technology in Diagu Amagu Ikwo, Ebonyi State, to provide full-time courses leading to the award of diploma, higher national diploma in food technology and applied disciplines and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions. My respected colleagues, the fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act 2011 and for related matters standing in the names of Honorable Fakay, Honorable Solomon Bulus Marine, and 20 other honorable members. All members will call the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 25th January 2022. I now invite Honorable Fakay to move that the bill be read the second time. Why is our acting chairman Roots? Jega?
Jega, today is the business of acting. The speaker, the chief whip, the business. I think I'm the only odd number here. I think I will leave and allow someone to act for the leader of the house.
Anyway, I'm not acting. I don't act for speaker. Apply for the House to step down this particular bill.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Honorable Bulus Marine is not on seat.
Fakay is the leading person there. Marine is the second person.
Okay, Honorable Fakay, Kenny Fakay is not on seat.
Thank you.
I therefore give the indulgence of this House to turn down the second reading of this bill. That's appropriate.
Thank you. Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leader of the House. The Speaker colleagues, the sixth order of the day is commencement debate on the general principle of bill for an act to repeal the counterfeit and fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Foods Miscellaneous Provisions Act, Cap C34 Laws of Nigeria 2004, and make comprehensive provisions for the provision and control of counterfeit medical products, fake drugs, unwholesome processed foods, and for related matters, standing now on the Yusuf Tanko Sonunu and Honorable Samuel Babatunde Adejade. All members recall the bill was held the first time on Wednesday, 24th November 2021, and I invite Honorable Sonunu to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu. I represent the Urishanga Ingeski Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kebbi State. I'm standing also on behalf of Honorable Samuel Babatunde Adejare, representing Agege Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, we seek the leave of the Speaker and House to present a bill for an act to repeal the Counterfeit and Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Food Miscellaneous Provision Act, Cap 3 C34, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and make comprehensive provision for the prohibition and control of counterfeit medical products, fake drug, and of some processed foods, and for related matters with House Bill number 1666. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Bashir. Sorry, my brother from Kogi. I thought it was Bashir Bauchi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, my distinguished honorable colleagues. Abdullah Ibrahim Halims is my name. I'm from the most peaceful state in this country, representing the good people of Ankpa, Omala, Olamaboro Federal Constituency. I rise to support the bill for an act to repeal the Counterfeit and Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Foods Miscellaneous Provision Act, Cap 634, as presented by Honorable Sonunu. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Sonunu, do you want to lead the debate? Thank you.
To be read for the second time. The health and economic hazard of counterfeit medical products and fake drug, as well as unwholesome processed food, cannot be overemphasized. Mr. Speaker, those businesses are lucrative crimes, but with serious consequences to the nation. Fake drug causes therapeutic failure, drug resistance, economic sabotage, so also unwholesome food, drugs, and they have a lot of consequences on human health. Mr. Speaker, greed, corruption, poor technology for protection of the identity of genuine drugs products, inadequate or outdated legislation to fight the menace are among the promoters of the business. To address the menace, amendment of the Act becomes mandatory. The current bill, when passed into law, will not only reduce the activities of and promoters of the counterfeit drugs, fake drugs, and unwholesome products, but will prevent citizens, will protect the citizen, and also have serve as a deterrent, and provide for payment of compensation to the victims of all their next of kin. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we have fundamental duty to protect lives, properties of Nigerians, as we are currently fighting the insecurity in the country. But fake drugs has caused more damage and life lost more than even the insurgency in the country, and therefore cannot be left unattended to. We therefore must develop the political will to fight the triad of unwholesome processed food, counterfeit drugs, and drug abuse in order to protect this country, the current generation of this country, and the generation yet unborn. The bill has 5 parts and schedule. I therefore want to request the leave of Mr. Speaker and my honorable colleagues to allow the bill to be considered for second reading. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so submit.
You want to contribute, sir? Respected colleagues, the question now is that the bill be read second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to repeal the Counterfeit and Fake Drugs and Unwholesome Processed Foods Miscellaneous Provisions Act, Cap C34, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and make comprehensive provisions for the provision and control of counterfeit medical products, fake drugs, and unwholesome processed foods, and for related matters. Second reading.
Committee on Healthcare and Services. Respected colleagues, the Chief Whip of the House was held back in another function, so he came in late. In the order of paper, we have the first order as his own bill. He has not returned to the House, but is now into the House for his legislative functions. I would like to beg grave indulgence to allow us the senior decision on stepping down this particular bill so that he can present the bill. We can take the bill.
Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I want to crave the indulgence of this House to rescind its decision that will allow for the second reading of the bill for an act to establish National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, to serve as Nigerian Apex Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies and for related matters. So move.
Seconder, Honorable Buba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba Yakub. I represent Gombe Home Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. I rise to second the motion moved by the acting chairman, Business and Rules. I so second.
Those in favor that would send a decision to allow Honorable Moguno to take his bill, say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The next order of the day is commencement of debate on general principle of bill for an act to amend to establish National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, to serve as Nigerian Apex Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, Honorable Monguno, all members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 23rd November 2021. Now invite Honorable Monguno to move that the bill be read the second time.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno Ganze Federal.
Incoming. Outgoing, sorry, outgoing. Outgoing.
I hereby move for a bill for an act to establish National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, to serve as Nigeria's Apex Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies and for related matters be read the second time. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Respected colleagues, Ari Mohammed Abdul Mumin, member representing Nasrallah Soto Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Nasrallah State. I rise to second the bills moved by the senior colleagues. I so second.
Honorable Monguno, you want to lead the debate? Well,
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, this bill was sponsored against the backdrop of the fact that laws are supposed to be dynamic. Laws are supposed to change to bring them in tandem with the objective
and subjective realities of society. And as such, laws are supposed to be organic and change with changing times. And the primary responsibility of the legislature, as per Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, is to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of the country. And it is in the exercise of this function that the legislature, via this bill, is invited to repeal and enact the laws governing the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru Jos. To refresh your memories, human memory being momentary, this institute was established in 1979 for the purpose of assembling policy makers, train them, do research and what have you on modern apparatus of governance and what have you. And in order to bring this law in tandem with the realities of today, especially the governing council of the board, under the law enacting it, no specific qualification was specified for a person to be a member of the governing board. What this bill seeks to do is to specify qualifications for members of the governing board. And then this bill also seeks to bring the administrative structure of the institute to be at par with what is obtainable in other agencies of government. So that is essentially what this bill seeks to do. This bill speaks for itself. It's res ipsa loquitur. So I invite my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think you need to advise Honorable Monguno to allow his gray hair grow so that he will qualify for the next assignment.
I think the gray has grown so much.
No, sir, he's dying. He's dying. He dyes his hair. So you better allow your gray hair to grow.
Maybe the questions are hearing you, and I believe the terrain is very ripe. So allow the gray hair to be seen.
Stop dyeing your hair, please.
Thank you. Colleagues, those in favor that bill be read second time say aye. Against say nay. That is it. No, it has been seconded. He was arguing. He argued. He was arguing. Clerks invited long title for the bill. The bill was seconded by Honorable Buba, if I recall.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, to serve as Nigeria's apex institute for policy and strategic studies and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Governmental Affairs. The seventh order of the day is a motion on discharge of Committee on Bill referral pursuant to Section Order 17, Rule 3G. Standing now, Honorable of the House of Representatives, standing the name of Honorable Tijani Ismail Kaide. Honorable Kaide is invited to motion. Honorable Kaide, I don't think that this is right. Apply to step down. By our rules, the chairman rules that is supposed to apply for the discharge of any responsibility given to any committee, not us as individuals.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. Honorable Kaide, the normal tradition is for the chairman rules and business to move for the discharge of this assignment. I therefore move that the discharge of Committee on Bills referral pursuant to Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Orders of the House.
You step down.
Please step down.
Thank you. Point of order? On this particular one? Okay. What's the point of order, sir?
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I think it's just important that I raise this issue. First, for purposes of my personal integrity and the integrity of the committee that is going to be discharged of this responsibility. It is in the powers of the House to assign and to discharge responsibilities to committees. This cannot be challenged by any member. However, please, sir. However, I have had cause to stand up here and complain several times to the leadership that you pass every day, you pass establishment requests to our committee, and yet the House is not funding that activity. And it has pitched me against members several. Members felt that I was deliberately delaying their bills, including the House leader. We had cause to quarrel severally, and his belief is that I refuse deliberately to treat his own case. I am just using his own as an example, but it abounds in the House, sir, that everybody feels that we are sitting on the right bill. And therefore, my prayer is that it is either the House agree to fund, or you stop referring it to our committee, or you discharge it completely. Discharge all the referrals to us, because to list it that I have been discharged presupposes ineptitude on our part and failure to discharge our responsibility. And this is a public document that is being kept for history and for record. And therefore, I feel very, very aggrieved. The sponsor of the bill is even a member of my committee. I don't have a problem with that. But I am concerned that this matter has to be addressed, sir, honestly speaking. And this is the third time that I will be standing up here to complain on this. Each time I see discharge, I felt bad, and it is like I've been painted in a manner that is not mine.
My brother comrade, I thought these are things that possibly we could have discussed in leadership. No, excuse me. When the matter was brought up, I did mention that he does not have the right to apply for the discharge. This, as far as I'm concerned, this is a matter before me now. It's the rules of the House, and I've said I'm stepping down this one based on the rule of the House. If the matter surfaces again, I think you have the right to raise those issues I'm concerned. But again, we're all aware and we all know that by the number of establishment bills we are pushing every day for funding, the resources of the House is very lean. Nobody can contest to that. On every public hearing, if we are to do public hearing by the number of bills we are passing, I do not think the House have the capacity. It's for us not to manage from the little and see the way out for us so that we can do the needful. It's part of the functions of our own destiny. We can say, you cannot apply to say, discharge me of that function, except if we want to leave the chairman of the committee. Every office and every other entity in this organization, I believe, is managing. There's no office that will say we're comfortable with the resources available to us. I want to appeal, please, let's have some restraint. Thank you. It is only when money is given to you and you refuse to do that you feel indicted. When it's not given, how do you get yourself indicted? No, it is because of the number of days written on our rules. After a certain period of time, if you are unable to bring, the rule does not recognize as to whether you are funded or not funded. It says after these days, it could apply to be considered in the committee of the whole. And this may take cognizance of the fact that yes, we may not have the money like we are now faced with. Today we read about how many establishment bills. If you are to conduct public hearing on every bill, it may not be possible. But maybe my advice is that you now structure a way. Instead of funding one bill, we may now have to take 20 bills in one day or 30 bills in one day and do the public hearing. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, if you allow me to also add, with due respect to my honorable brother, honorable comrade Aminu Goro, whether I agree with him, of course, that the committee has a lot of issues as far as funding is concerned. But when you have matters of this nature at the committee level, I don't think they are for discussions on the floor. This is purely an administrative matter. Finances of committees are administrative. And I also want to put it to you that at the discretion of the leadership of the 9th House of Representatives, when we decided to choose you run the affairs of this committee, we were also not oblivious of the fact that you are one of the few rich men here that can fund your committees to serve your fatherland. I say if you are engaging in that capacity, then you let us know. One of the very few rich men here.
Leader, jokes apart. No. Which indictment? Are you rich? Is anybody elected here to run the committee based on his own personal resources? These are jokes. So, the motion stepped down by the leave of the House. The eighth order of the day is a motion on urgent need to address the prolonged construction of the Trans-Saharan natural gas pipeline project. Standing in the name of Ahmed Munir. Honorable Munir is invited to move the motion. Step down.
It's around.
Okay.
Munir is there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, my names are Honorable Ahmed Munir, and I represent Lere Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. And I humbly rise today to present a motion on the urgent need to address the prolonged construction of the Trans-Saharan natural gas pipeline project. The House notes that on the 14th of January 2002, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and the Algerian National Oil and Gas Company, Sonatrach, signed a memorandum of understanding for a $12 billion, 4,128 kilometers natural gas pipeline project with a projected annual capacity of 30 billion cubic meters that will extend gas supply to Europe. Also notes that in June 2005, NNPC and Sonatrach signed a contract with Penspen Limited for a feasibility study of the project, which was completed in September 2006, and the pipeline was discovered to be technically and economically feasible and reliable, which in turn led to the intergovernmental agreement on the pipeline signed by the energy ministers of Nigeria, Niger, and Algeria on July 3, 2009 in Abuja. Concerned that in 2013, the federal government approved a budget of $400 million for commencement of the project originally scheduled to be operational by 2020, with no commensurate progress made till date. Cognizant that a new gas master plan needs to be crafted due to the current geopolitical realities, such as the newly completed 20,000 barrel per day Zinder refinery in the Niger Republic, the new Niger-Benin Republic pipeline due for completion in 2023, the discovery and exploitation of hydrocarbons in commercial quantity in the Lake Chad region of Chad Republic, the prospecting of oil and gas on the Nigerian side of Lake Chad, discovery of hydrocarbons in Bauchi, the spike in the cost of hydrocarbon, the security situation along the right-of-way across the Sahel, as well as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, leading to Western nations looking for alternative options to meet energy demands. Also cognizant that the successful completion of this vital project will create jobs, spur economic growth, and enhance energy and regional security. The House resolves to urge the NNPC to provide information regarding the implementation, funds utilization, and status of the project. Also urge the NNPC to review the National Gas Master Plan in relation to the project to conform with the variables of today's global economy. Mandate the Committee on Gas Resources to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Yes, sir.
All right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Ade Joro Adeogun. I represent the very good people of Akoko South and Southwest Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my friend and brother, Honorable Munir. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, this is an infrastructure-related motion, so I now put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Of the day is motion on need to address the soot pollution in Niger Delta, standing and now Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable Salam is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Bamidele Salam. I represent the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore, Ejigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the urgent need to address soot pollution in the Niger Delta. The House notes that soot is one of the deadliest forms of air pollution as it contains dangerous chemical substances that cause cancer, heart attacks, skin diseases, bronchitis, aggravated asthma, strokes, other respiratory and reproductive issues, all of which can lead to premature death. Also note that since the year 2016, there have been several reports of soot pollution in the Niger Delta area with a 30% increase in morbidity and mortality rates in Rivers State in particular. Further note that in the year 2018, the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, commissioned an investigation on soot pollution in Rivers State, and it was established that the pollution was largely caused by illegal bunkering and gas flaring. Concerned that the situation has been aggravated by ITEL Exploration and Production Company Limited, which spilled oil and gas continuously into the Santa Barbara River for over a month between November and December of the year 2021. Also concerned that a review of hospital records across the 23 local government areas in Rivers State indicated that 22,077 persons who received treatment for soot-related conditions between 2014 and 2018 suffered respiratory ailments. Disturbed that as at December of 2020, Port Harcourt, which is the capital of Rivers State, was reported as the most polluted city in the world, with an air index of 207, which is far above the standard and moderate levels of 0 to 100, thus making the city to be unhealthy for residents. Also disturbed that the result of a lung function test carried out on 5 non-smoking people in the Niger Delta area who have no pre-existing medical conditions and who are between the ages of 22 and 33 years old showed that none of the participants had normal lung function activities. Aware that Section 20 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended provides that the state shall protect and improve the environment and safeguard the air and land, forest, and wildlife of the country. Also aware, Mr. Speaker, that Article 24 of the Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which Nigeria is a signatory, guarantees the right of citizens to a sustainably satisfactory environment favorable to their development. Also aware that the federal government has ratified the Paris Climate Change Agreement and is a signatory to the Global Gas Flaring Partnership Principles for Global Flare Out by the year 2030. Cognizant that in 2016, the federal government launched the Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Program with the goal of eliminating gas flaring by the year 2020. Worried that the federal government is far behind in its national gas flare out target, which has aggravated the soot pollution in the Niger Delta area. Worried that soot pollution put the lives of the exposed people at risk, with children being the most vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, the House resolves to, 1, urge the federal government to seek a permanent solution to soot pollution in the Niger Delta area by enforcing relevant laws and proper regulation of gas flaring. And 2, that the House mandate the committees on gas, Niger Delta Development Commission, healthcare services, to investigate the incidence of soot pollution in the Niger Delta and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
I think, Ali, I'm forced to recognize him since you don't want his stand up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable James Adisa Olabi, representing Ifakojayi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Lagos. I rise to second the motion moved by my good brother. I so second.
Bamidele, you want to lead the debate, or I think it's sufficiently explained by the body of your motion? Can we put the question? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. The third order of the day is a motion on need to strengthen the intelligence gathering capacity of the security agencies in Nigeria. Standing now on Dennis Idahosa. Honorable Idahosa is invited to move the motion. Honorable Idahosa not on the floor.
Honorable Idahosa, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Honorable Idahosa is not on the floor. So I therefore call on the House to step down the motion.
Motion step down by the leave of the House. The 11th order of the day is a motion on need to ensure proper healthcare waste management in Nigeria. Sending Honorable Boluga Dele. Honorable Dele is invited to the motion. You see? Point of order? Are you raising a point of order? Okay, what's the point of order? You don't want Dele to take the motion?
The matter concerning security, and I second it. I think that this security matter should not be discussed in the open chambers because of the security implications, Mr. Speaker.
Is to ensure proper healthcare waste management. That's what is moving the motion for. Well, Council of Elders, we appreciate. Well, go ahead and move your motion.
Very much, Mr. Yeah. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Boluga Dele Ikemboju, and I represent the good people of Okitipupa, really, Federal Constituency. I'm from Ondo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion on the need to ensure proper healthcare waste management in Nigeria. The House notes that healthcare waste constitutes a distinct category of waste as it contains potentially harmful waste materials and as such are of critical concern globally, especially in developing countries. Also note that the inappropriate handling and disposal of healthcare waste poses huge risk to health workers who may be directly exposed and to people near health facilities, particularly children and scavengers who may become exposed to infectious waste and its attendant risks of diseases. Further aware that a recent study posted that the current practices adopted for the management of healthcare waste generated in many healthcare facilities such as teaching hospitals and primary healthcare centers are low, unsustainable, and inappropriate for the protection of human health and the environment. Observe that studies at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki, involved the interview of 52 health workers, including doctors, nurses, on the status of the waste management practice in the health facility, revealing that average amount of healthcare waste was 622 grams per person per day at the outpatient units and 0.81 kilogram bed per day in the inpatient wards. And the proportion of respondents who had received specific training in the management of healthcare waste was 11.5%. That is 6 out of every 52. And those who understood the importance of healthcare waste management in providing safety to the public was 46%. That's 24 out of the 52 people interviewed. And the level of healthcare waste management practice was found to be. Further observe, the above statistics reveal the very low level training of medical staff on healthcare waste management, resulting in low practice of healthcare waste management and the understanding of its impact on the health of the public. Worried that there are no sustainable national and institutional framework and monitoring plans and strategies for existing laws, policies, and work plans, especially at the primary healthcare facilities in the country. Cognizant that one of the most important responsibilities of government is to protect the lives of citizens and ensure a sustainable environment for future generations. Regret that if no urgent action is taken to curb the menace and hazardous effect of poor management of medical waste in Nigeria, it may lead to the continued spread of diseases such as hepatitis and all types of fever, with a serious negative impact on the health profile of Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, the House resolved to, 1, mandate the committees on healthcare services, health institutions, and the environment to interface with chief medical directors of university teaching hospitals, medical directors of federal medical centers, and other health facilities in Nigeria, which produce healthcare waste and other relevant stakeholders, to A, determine possible government and institutional interventions that will promote proper healthcare waste management in Nigeria. B, develop and propose a permanent and sustainable solution to current challenges of healthcare waste management and report back within 2 weeks for further legislative actions. And finally, issue a further directive deemed expedient in the circumstance to ensure compliance with the above resolutions. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Dr. Henry Achibong. I speak for the people of Itu, Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that has been ably moved by honorable colleague. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
You still want to argue the motion or we'll put the question? Let us argue. I thought it's a telephone motion. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 12th order of the day consists of 2 reports of the Committee of Tertiary Education and Services on by Aminu Suleiman will move for their consideration.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State, in the city of Kano, not from rural area.
This is a misrepresentation, sir.
And my name is...
Are you the governor of the state? It's a misrepresentation, Mr. Speaker. I beg for your
intervention. Honorable Speaker.
I think it is not to you, leader. It is all of us who are coming from the rural area.
Word withdrawn, Mr. Speaker, sir. I move, Honorable Speaker, that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal College of Education Act, Cap 8, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Federal College of Education Bill and for related matters, HB 1455, and approve the recommendation therein. Before proceeding, I ask the Chief Whip to call some people to order.
Honorable Dambata, Honorable Koko.
Thank you very much. Two, that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to establish Federal Polytechnic Tombia for the training of graduates in sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and for related matters, HB 1333, and approve the recommendation therein. I so move, Honorable Speakers.
Seconder, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Odebo Mishegun is my name. I represent the good people of Ogolua Surulere Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's it. The 13th order of the day is consideration of 6 reports of the Committee on Popular Petition on Jerry Elagbosun. Leader will move for the consideration. Leader of the Elders Forum.
Thank you, our performing speaker and my colleagues. My name is Jerry Alabos. I'm from Imo State, representing Olo, Osun, and Ori East Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, I rise so that the House do receive the report of the House Committee on Public Petitions on a petition by B.A. Anyanwu.
Leader, I didn't hear what you're saying. Elder.
I said, our performing speaker.
That the House do receive or what? I don't know.
No, I said the House do consider.
Thank you.
The report of the House Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by B.A. Anyanwu on behalf of the Concerned Estimate Workers Forum against Nigeria's security printing and meeting for injustice and the prevention of tensions matters. Mr. Speaker, I rise also so that the House do consider the report of the House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions by PTE Titus Onwumere against the Nigerian Army on the non-payment of salary since March 2001 to date and unlawful discharge from the duty. The Speaker, I crave your indulgence so that the House do consider the report of the House Committee on the Public Petitions on a petition by Nasir Hassan against the Nigeria Police Force on appeal for a review of his improper dismissal from the service of the Nigeria Police Force. Mr. Speaker, continuing, I'm standing to plead that the House do consider the report of the House Committee on Public Petitions on the petition by Star Attorney on behalf of Mrs. Akobon and Barry Mesu against the Presidential Amnesty Program for non-payment of the salaries and allowances of 65,000 naira per month for the past 17 months, amounting to accrued sum of 4,420,000 due to each of them, and a total of 18,840,000 only being their collective outstanding payments owed them from December 2015 to date, and other allowances due to them. Mr. Speaker, may I pray that the House do consider the report of the House Committee on Public Petitions by Dr. Patrick Obonnaya against Federal Medical Center, Guru, Yoruba State, on his wrongful termination of appointment by the Federal Medical Center. Finally, Mr. Speaker, give your indulgence so that the House do receive the report, consider the reports of the House of Representative Committee on Public Petitions by ex-police Ojo Ayeton against the Nigeria Police Force on the wrongful dismissal from the police. I pray you do consider, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Galambi. Honorable Galambi. You have the floor. Your mic. Your mic, your mic.
Honorable Speaker,
Please, come here.
distinguished honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Yusuf Shitu Galambi. I represent Waram Federal Constituency from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the motion as moved by Honorable Goro. Mr. Speaker, I so second.
What? What's the motion?
Consideration of report. I'm sorry.
By Goro.
By Goro. As you told me. Chairman of Public Petition.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against any, they are serving. Leader, move that the House do resolve into Committee of the Whole consider reports.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I remain Honorable Ado Dogwa, representing the people of Dogwa, Tudunwada Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this House do resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider reports. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Yes, Jega.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Mohammed Umar Jega, Acting Chairman, Rules and Business. I second the motion of the whole.
Fellow colleagues, the first report to be considered is that of Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on the Bill for an Act to repeal the Federal College of Education Act F8 Laws of Nigeria 2004 and enact the Federal College of Education Bill. I now invite Honorable Aminu Suleiman to give the senior citizen report. Comrade, you have the floor.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the bill before the respected members of the House is an attempt, a legislative attempt, to bring the business of administering the colleges of education at par with other sister tertiary institutions in the country, talking specifically about the universities and the polytechnics. Basically, the amendment sought to ensure uniformity in the appointment and tenure of majorly the principal officers of colleges of education, and to give legislative powers to the colleges of education to begin a degree program without necessarily affiliating with universities. This is a global practice as obtained virtually in most advanced academic world, where colleges do offer degree programs without necessarily metamorphosing into a university or affiliating with a university or answering the name university. And the attempt is to ensure that we accelerate this process so that Nigeria can, as much as it is possible, come off and be at par with universal best practices. The recommendations are clearly encapsulated in this report, and I urge very respectfully that the honorable members do objectively peruse and ensure that we do the needful. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. The question is now that the following clauses stand part of the bill. Clause 1. Clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 4. Clause 5. Clause 7. Clause 8. Clause 9. Clause 10. Eleven. 12. 13. 15. 16. 18. 19. 20. 1. Clause 22. Clause 24. Clause 26. Clause 29. Clause 31. Explanatory memoranda. Is it? Are you sure you have 32? Schedules. 31, okay, 32. Comrades, you have in the schedule, and I don't know what's going to happen or will allow it to go, because I know it has already been upgraded to the status of the university. The president has signed this bill, particular one, upgrading this particular college from Plateau State to the status of the university. But it's in your own, it's included in your own schedule. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, on the schedule 1, item number M, is reading Federal College of Education Technical, Asaba, Bendel State. I think it's now Delta State, not Bendel State, sir. We don't have Bendel State, so we can correct it.
I think the committee wanted to remind you of where you are coming from.
Thank you, sir.
Explanatory memoranda. Long title. But I suppose those small corrections will be done before the final clean-up copy is taken to the president or transmitted to the Senate. But it's a good work. With this now, members don't have to suffer to go and then begin to write new bills if it's passed and assented to. All they need to is to amend the schedule. That's all. Thank you. The second report to consider is that of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Service on the Bill for an Act to establish Federal Polytechnic, Tombia, for training of graduates in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and following matters. And I invite Honorable Aminu Suleiman to give the synopsis of the report.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, this too is an establishment bill, and I hope the mover or the sponsor of the bill is around so that he will be shouting, carry, carry. I will not be carrying for him. I will present the report, and he will have to assist by carrying. No, let me present it.
You are the one to defend your work.
Yeah, I'm defending.
He has proposed for you, so you are the one to defend the work.
I needed him to be around so that the boys.
No, his work stopped at the point of his own, at the second reading. That's all.
Thank you very much. When you come to do that, I will do that. Honorable Chair, honorable colleagues, this one is an establishment bill, and the request also went through the normal procedure of the public hearing. Stakeholders in the education sector were invited for an engagement. This includes the Minister of Education, the National Colleges of Education in Nigeria, the Academic Staff Union of Colleges of Education, and all other stakeholders in the education sector in Nigeria. And the bill was subjected to a very wide and robust engagement, and the totality of position is to the effect that this college be established in Tombia. All the recommendations, honorable colleagues, were clearly spelled out to assist members in arriving at a very objective consideration. I therefore move and solicit for the understanding of honorable colleagues so that the bill will receive the blessing of the House. A small synopsis, honorable speakers.
In fact, I will plead with, I don't know how this last bill that we treated came about, but I will have pleaded with you to also have a more harmonized polytechnic bill, just like this order. We have similar one in the health institutions. It will help us in saving resources. Thank you, sir. Clause 1. Clause 1. Clause 2. Mama, is it a bill? Okay. Clause 3. But have you done that of leader? Have you treated that of leader? Leader's bill. Clause 3, clause 9, 10, clause 11, 13, 17, 18, clause 21, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34. Clause 35. 38. Clause 44. Clause 47. Clause 47, clause 48, clause 49, clause 52, clause 56, 57, Clause 60. But I don't think that 62 is correct. 66 section 2. Yes, sir. You are the one oversighting. I don't think that one is correct. Yes, 60 section 2. A staff of the Polytechnic other than the rector is appointed by the council on terms and conditions of the council may determine subject to visitors' approval. Clause 60. And then you go to sub 2 of that. Page 23. Yes, sir. The problem is that you know that it's not only the rector that is appointed by council, all the principal officers are appointed by council.
Recommendation by the council. The council sits and recommends 3 people to the visitors.
I'm not querying that of rector. I'm querying the non-inclusion of those ones appointed by council. It says a staff of the Polytechnic other than rector is appointed by the council on terms and conditions as council may determine subject to the visitors' approvals. I'm saying that the council also approve the appointment because they are done in 3 categories appointments. For the council, they are the one responsible for the appointment of all the principal officers,
Yes.
director of works, director, bossa, librarian.
Sir, there are only 4 principal officers.
Yes.
The rector, the registrar, the bossa, and the librarian.
Yes, sir.
Others are not principal officers.
The others are not principal officers. I'm saying you do not include them on the terms of specification because tomorrow, who is now responsible for the appointment? It is the council that is responsible for the appointment.
Yes, yes.
But here it is not so.
Okay.
Maybe I should borrow you my glass.
Either the director is appointed by the council or town.
Yeah, just
I don't understand your argument, sir. With due respect.
My argument is that council is responsible for the appointment of rector.
Correct.
Responsible for director of works.
Correct.
They're responsible for the appointment of librarian and the bossa.
Correct.
But this is not what is stated here.
No, sir. Maybe they understand it. I may be wrong. But our understanding is that the powers of the council by this is not questioned, is not removed at all, sir.
No, it is other than rector. The rector himself is appointed on the recommendation of the council. In fact,
I'm prepared to depart to the chair. What do you want us to put here?
No, I'm not the one. You are the one to couch it. You are the one to
What
couch
I
it.
understand. So, if there is an issue with it, I stand to be corrected. But this is what is supposed to be there. If there is an issue with it, I stand.
There
to be
is an
corrected,
issue
sir.
too, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I stand to be corrected, sir.
No. Carry it.
Carry.
61. '63. That's why I pleaded with you to have a harmonized bill, just like that one. Because, like I did mention to you, appointments are done in 3 categories. The one approved by the president on the position of council, then those are principal officers. Then senior cadre. Junior cadre, it is the head of the institution that heads the junior cadre appointment. So you have lumped them all into one. But if I allow you, since this is your own wish, it's not for me to work for you. No, sir. That is the practice, and that's what I'm saying. As of now, this is how it's done. Yes, sir. So council doesn't appoint junior staff. Yes, sir. But here it says, other than that, they are the one to do it. No, you can't assume. There are lawyers are here. If you assume, it's subject to misinterpretation. Somebody tomorrow somebody else can abuse what you have applied here. and cause problem, assuming the institution will be signed to law. The 65, 7, 68, Oleoke is not here. I also have problem with 70A. 74A. Why do you restrict the audit to work only during office hours? Okay. No, they have was taken by. Thank you. Okay, you'll find me in that place. For the what? You see, Goro, and you have captured it now in page 17, where I was raising the other matter. If you get to page 17, it is reflected exactly. But it means then the other one is contradicting this particular provision, and there's conflict. Thank you. Thank you. So 74? Are we in 74?
Yes.
Yes, I'm asking why must you restrict the auditor from having access to books only during when you know actually if they are working, they could decide to work 24 hours. They are restricted to say only during working hours for them to have access to books.
With due respect, sir, that I bring this to the notice of the House, that the committee did not adjust or tamper with anything. We return this recommendation. And this is a product of previous work done by successive legislative houses of the National Assembly. And therefore, if we have tampered with it, the work of the committee could have been queried here. But we return
No.
the recommendation.
I refuse your explanation, Goro, because I have areas where you have done adjustment.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You are questioning this one.
Yes, sir.
And I said I have not tampered with this one. The one I have tempered, query me and I will explain. But the one that is here and we return, I am retaining the work of the committee.
You should not allow the leader to hear that because it is their prerogative, the committee now, after the raw material is given to you to process, and it is after you are processing now, you are the one who are to query. We don't know who brought what. It is their own work.
Yes, sir, I understand. Where we return, it is a conviction of the committee that is proper. Now, if there is error in the opinion of the House are at liberty now
right.
to correct and say this is what
but we want to be guided because you are a very senior ranking chairman.
Yes, sir, I am persuaded by what we return here.
Thank you.
If the House feel otherwise, they can correct me and I stand corrected.
But you agree that we should only assess financial books only during office hours?
Yes, as far as this is concerned.
Thank you. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I think this last point you made, sir, is very attractive, sir. And I am Ajibola Murainisa. I represent Barakwa Central, Barakwa North Federal Constituency. I think we can delete during normal official hours.
Thank you.
Only. And then say, shall have access to every book on and on like that. So that they will be at liberty to operate at any hour.
I know that one.
I so move, sir.
Thank you. Seconder? Yes, sir. Nelaraba. Adi, you have to increase your height today. The mic is supposed to work automatically as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My highly respected colleagues, Abubakar Hassan El-Araba is my name. I represent the good people of Awedo Makana Federal Constituency and from Nasarawa State. I rise to second the motion on consideration of the report. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. 74 as amended. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm worried about this 75 because of the blanket protection that a member of council, academic board, or body established under this bill shall not be personally liable for an act or omission committed or omitted to be done in the performance of his duties under the authority of the council. I feel this blanket protection is not good. It's going to aid corruption. Because there are people that can be assigned a specific role in any institution, and the person can use that authority, that assigned role, to perpetrate crime. Does it mean this person can just go because he's working under authority of the institution? I think it's a blanket protection that can encourage corruption.
What does the provision seek to enhance first?
I don't know, sir. It's really it's confusing because I don't see why it should be the blanket protection. I don't see what it seeks to do. If somebody commits an offense, either with authority or without authority, the person should face the music. And if we are giving the person blanket authority, do it and go, you will not be punished. Then I don't think it's a good one for where we are.
I think I'm tempted to lean you towards that direction. For instance, if he's a member of academic board and he has something to do with results, will you now allow him where deliberately he decide to be negligent in his own duty? He should be held responsible. I think so. Move your motion.
Thank you, Chairman. I am Honorable Ben Roland Sibakwa. I want to amend that any member of council, academic board, or a body established under this act shall be personally liable.
Or you put maybe.
Maybe. Okay, sir.
Thank you. That may
Maybe
be.
personally
So that
liable for an
you
act.
allow room for
In
genuine
case.
mistakes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Seconder. Yes, Adi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Respected colleagues, Ari Mohammed Abdul Mumin is my name. I represent Nasarawa Toto Federal Constituency. I rise to second the amendment, heavily moved by a colleague. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against any. 75 have amended. Dala. 77. 78. 90. Schedules. Explanatory memorandum. Respected colleagues, the third report to be considered is that of Committee on Public Petition by B.A. Anyang on behalf of concerned ex-Nigerian security function and meeting workers forum against the Nigerian security function and meeting company for injustices and deprivation of pensions benefits. I now invite Honorable J. Alabosun to give the synopsis of the report.
Thank you, our hardworking chairman. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I want to observe and plead that I commend you for your quality of your intellect. I discovered that you read nearly all the reports before we consider them. But I plead that whatever is questionable here, Mr. Chairman, should be amended here instead of referring us back to the committee, because the members of the committee they don't have the monopoly of knowledge, Mr. Chairman, so that anything that is not acceptable here should be amended, because the Public Commission Committee is an alternative dispute resolution, unlike Committee on Education, Mr. Chairman. So anything that's not clear here should be amended here on the spot. I so plead, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, the report is not different from any other committee's report. No, I want to correct you. Yeah, the report is not different from any other committee report. If there is large degree of variance between your recommendation and your findings, and possibly what is the body of the petition, you don't expect us to come here and rewrite for you. You have to own up to your own work, and that's what we'll have to we're forced to refer it back to you. But if the amendments are not, we'll always do it like we have always done. No, we have not returned any report of yours on minor amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
I don't have this report.
The
one I just read.
Petition by B. Anyang and Co. So, on behalf of 373 meat workers, well, he was the person that led it. We discovered, Mr. Chairman and colleagues, that the meeting and printing were not fair to them. They were not paid their entitlements and so on. So we concluded and urged the Nigeria Security Printing and Meeting to please pay all the 375 concerned petitioners their respective dues, and also treat equally the man that led the petition, or the man that led the petition, Mr. Anyang, should also be considered and pay all his pensions and gratuity, Mr. Chairman.
Elder, I don't want you to read. Page 2, is it 2? It's not 2. I don't know how to. Yes, sir. Recommendation 1. Got it? 2. The fourth report to consider is that of Committee on Public Petition by PT Titus Onwumiri against the Nigerian Army on the non-payments of salaries since March 2021 to date and unlawful discharge from service. I now invite Honorable Jerry to give the synopsis of the report.
Mr. Chairman and colleagues, this is a case that cries to heaven for human conscience. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, this very officer was dismissed verbally. And when he petitioned, we invited the army, but they could not trace any records of why he was dismissed. So the committee has no alternative than to tell the army, since he cannot find the records of why he was dismissed, you don't have any alternative than to pay him all his arrears and salaries and entitlements. And of course, we told the Chief of Army Staff to respect him, Mr. Chairman.
Recommendation 1. The fourth report to be considered is that of Committee on Public Petition on petition by the 5th, I guess.
Hassan.
That is that of Committee on Public Petition by Nasir Hassan against the Nigerian Police Force on appeal to review his improper dismissal for service of the Nigerian Police Force. I now invite Nigeria back to the synopsis of the report.
Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I just want to report that we have commended the police. The Chairman, since we resumed, the police has reinstated more than 25 officers through our recommendations and resolutions. This is one of those cases where they improperly dismissed one of the officers, and we discovered that the man is getting old. And we told the police, instead of just dismissing, that they should convert his dismissal to retirement, so that they have a clean record to see whether they can get security job somewhere, Mr. Chairman. Very simple recommendation.
Recommendation 1. Recommendation 2. The sixth order of the day is that the Committee on Public Petition on petition by the by Star Antonis on behalf of Mrs. Akobin Loguyam and Barine Mesua against the Presidential Amnesty Program for non-payments of 65,000 monthly salaries and allowances for the past 17 months. And I invite the Nigeria to give the summary of the report.
Mr. Chairman and colleagues, this is a matter of a delayed compensation. Mr. Chairman, these two gentlemen were unavoidably absent when Presidential Amnesty did their verification, and they omitted them. So when they brought the case, we now told the Presidential Amnesty to reiterate that they submit their documents and they should verify it and all their entitlements are paid. 65 naira.
Why were they absent?
Circumstantially, I think that was when they have militancy in River State.
When they had?
Militancy. That was militant, they couldn't come. They didn't come for the verification in Abuja here. So we discovered that the Presidential Ministry should pity them so that they present their documents for verification and pay their entitlements, Mr. Speaker. It's also one of those cases that cries to heaven for consideration, Mr. Speaker.
You say?
It's one of those cases that calls for human conscience. That's why we call
No, the human conscience, when somebody is given an appointment, it's not for him to abdicate.
Mr. Speaker, it's not an employment.
Yes, I know.
It just stipends the president.
Oh, yes, if they don't verify, how will they know those who are in the payroll and those are not in the payroll?
Yeah, that's the omitted. That's why we told them to come and verify them now and pay them. Where is Guru?
Recommendation 1. Recommendation 2. I understand why you are doing that, because you are also on the coastal line, so you are defending yourself.
Mr. Chairman, my clerk is from Plateau State.
And I say you. I didn't call back. I say you.
Okay, sir. I'm not going to argue with you unlike Guru.
No, Guru never argue with me. The seventh order of the day is a report to consider. The seventh report to consider is that of the Committee of Public Petition on petition by Dr. Patrick Ogbonna against the Federal Medical Center, Uguru, Yobe State, on his wrongful termination of appointment by Federal Medical Center. I now invite the majority to listen to the report.
Mr. Chairman and colleagues, this is another matter of wrongful termination of appointments by the Federal Medical Center of one Dr. Patrick Ogbonna.
Explanatory memorandum.
Meticulously and found the merits and demerits and urged the Federal Medical Center to please reset Dr. Patrick, especially in his area of specialization as pediatrics, confer his permanent appointment and promote him back to his colleagues and pay all his entitlements. Mr. Chairman,
thank you.
That's the view of the committee members.
Our hardworking chairman. Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I want to observe and plead that I commend you for your quality of your intellect. I discovered that you read the
Elder, I don't want you to read. Maybe just on the 4-7, sir. Could you have just been given just one statement, one line that the Honorable House should dismiss the president
equally
without giving any reason?
Mr. Chairman, the reason is contained in the main report. And this is a summary of the recommendation. Because we discovered that he was wrongly terminated. And we look at the whole circumstances and discover that it should be restated, and that's what it did. The reason is contained in the findings. And if you start reading the findings now, it wastes your time, Mr. Chairman.
I think.
Where are my members? Where is Shaba? Shaba?
Yeah,
we have some lawyers in the committee.
You see, if the lawyers are here, I will ask them, because certainly there must have been submission.
No, it's contained in the findings.
No, it should be part of the respondent's prayer submission. That within just 2 years of his appointment, he has received 3 queries. That in 2015, a warning letter was issued to him because he failed to attend to a patient. That in 2016, he was also issued a warning letter. That after the queries, a committee was set up by the senior staff against him to review his case. That there was no letter of service that triggered the jurisdiction of the commencement of the panel that tried the petition. If those things that are mentioned, and as an institution, will you, if it is your own personal company, on those things, allow that person to be promoted, or is it because of public?
Mr. Chairman, there was no due process in the constituted panel. That's what happened. The panel was not duly constituted. So we discovered that there was no due
The full report to consider that process on public petition by.
query first, then you come back.
They mentioned it here. They mentioned the dates the queries were given.
No, they did not finish with the panel. Read it through, Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm reading from your report.
Yes, we are saying the same thing.
You are not saying the same thing.
We are saying the same, Mr. Chairman. When you constitute a committee and the committee is not properly constituted and somebody is supposed to be there and he goes there and not satisfied, the best thing to do is to look at the facts of the case and take conclusions.
No, I'm looking at the facts of the case, and I'm also, you see, I'm worried about the recommendations. I don't want our recommendations to go out. At the end of the day, neglected.
So you are not satisfied with the findings? Then step it down and correct it here, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Come here. Yeah, don't speak. When you are speaking, we help you.
I'm not speaking for you. Mr. Chairman, I said, since the petitioner was queried 3 times, the chairman Kado said he has not been given fair hearing. He was warned for the.
Warned for what?
He was warned for what he has been doing.
For what?
For the irregularities he has been doing in his workplace. I think I would suggest is either we drop these recommendations or we give the chairman time to go and review the report.
I would rather plead that allow them to tidy up the report.
To carry?
To tidy up the report.
No, I think...
No. There may be other things. These are things we have seen on the surface. Allow them to tidy up the report. To the tool.
This is to sack the man self.
That's all. That's all. Somebody who has been queried 3 times and won more than 2 times.
You just allow them to go and work on it.
It's okay.
Report consideration further, step down, but leave the house for further legislative action. Honorable Goro, leave leader to function. For Alhamdulillah. Leader, move that will revert to the to plenary. Oh, there's one more, sorry. That's it. The 8th report will consider that committee on the public petition on the petition by PC Ojo Ayetan against the Nigerian police force on his unlawful dismissal from service. I now invite the Representative to give the solution report.
As usual, Mr. Chairman, this is a case of one of the so many dismissals. I will find the merit on this and urge the Nigerian Police Inspector General to please reset Ojo and pay me all his entitlements and benefits. The point of the retirement is to enable him start a new life because he's also getting old. If you reset him, he cannot walk because he must have gotten the age of retirement. So the best is to reset him and retire him so that he can find some favors in other services like security and so on, Mr. Chairman.
Still on this one, sir. I don't know what is our finding because it's not sufficient. There is a number of days in the public service that if you are sick, you are supposed to have permission for treatment. Has the person undergone through all those? Did he obtain permission to be away because they couldn't have just sacked him? And there's a specific period of time so that we don't seem to be encouraging indolence within service. Because on the surface here, he was sick. If he was sick, did he report to the institution that he was sick? No, they dismiss him. It means if they dismiss him, what do you call a wolf? Well, that the case of the citizen was as a result of serious illness he suffered, which he promptly reported to the staff office in charge and who sympathized with his situation, granted him permission to go and treat himself until he fully recovered. Is that what is obtained in service? No, is that what is obtained? Until when he fully recovered? No, I'm just saying continue the work. Well, recommendation 1. And that's the only recommendation there. Thank you. Two? Okay, recommendation 2. Leader.
Olorodo. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members. Honorable Munir, Honorable Cherry, when you need to address the speaker, the chairman in the chair, please, you have to rise. You can't be seated and talking to the chairman of the committee. Please, you should be guided. Mr. Chairman, my respected honorable members, I rise to move that this honorable house do report to plenary and report progress. Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I so
Thank you, sir.
Honorable Chairman, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion that the house do report to plenary to report progress.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. House is divided to plenary to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal College of Education Act, Cap F8 Laws of Education Nigeria 2004, and enact the Federal College of Education Bill and related matters, and approve clauses 1 to 32, the schedule, the long title, and the explanatory memoranda of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education on a bill and services on a bill for an act to establish Federal Polytechnic, Tumbia, for the training of graduates of sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 to 73, clauses 74 to 75 as amended, clauses 76 to 80, the schedules, the long title, and the explanatory memoranda of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Public Petition by B.A. Anyanwu on behalf of concerned ex-Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Workers Forum against the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company for injustices and provision of pension right benefits, and approve recommendations 1 and 2 of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition on petition by PTE Titus Onwurimiri against the Nigerian Army on the non-payments of salaries since March 2001 to date, and on unlawful discharge from service, and approved recommendations of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition on the petition by Nasiru Hassan against the Nigerian Police Force, and appealed for a review of his improper dismissal from service of the Nigerian Police Force, and approved recommendations 1 and 2 of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Petitions, Public Petition on the petitions by Star Antonis and on behalf of Mrs. Akungbion Logoyam Ambarine Musua against the Presidential Amnesty Program for non-payments of 65,000 monthly salaries and allowances for the 70 months, and approved recommendations 1 and 2 of the report. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition by Dr. Patrick Ogmonaya against the Federal Medical Center Nguru, Yobe State, on his wrongful termination of appointment by Federal Medical Center, and stepped down the report for further legislative action. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Petition on the petition by ex-PC Ojo Ayenten against the Nigerian Police Force on the unlawful dismissal from service, and approved recommendations 1 and 2 of the report. Leader, move for the adoption of the report.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I remain Alhassan Ado Dogwa, representing the good people of Dogwa, Tudunmada Federal Constituency. My respected colleagues, I am from Kano State. I rise to move that the report of the Committee of the Whole, as presented by the Speaker, be adopted. Honorable members, my Speaker, I so move.
Chibu, Senator in waiting.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, the Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion that the House to adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against any, that's have it. Leader, me for the adjournment of the House.
The Chief Whip, sir, is representing Marte Monguno Ganzai for now. Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, I rise at this point in time to, as directed by the Speaker, move that this Honorable House be adjourned till tomorrow, Thursday, the 31st or 1st of April, 31st of March, 2022, by 11 a.m. as usual. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, the Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion that the House to adjourn tomorrow by 11 a.m.
Before I put the question, I would like to remind leadership and chairman of committees relevant to the motion that was passed yesterday for a meeting at 4 o'clock. Please try to be punctual. All relevant committee chairmen, and I believe the leadership, that was what the leadership of the committees are the ones to be available. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House is adjourned here to tomorrow, 11 a.m.